Hello guys, and welcome to another lap guide for the Racing Prodigy B3 Championship Series. Golden ticket opportunity allows you the chance to ride in a real-life Radical SR1 racing in the P3 Championship. And this week we are going to be taking the Radical SR8 out at Sebring International. Really technical track. Bumps, of course, always need to be respected here, as is the slogan. But without further ado, let's get right into the laps, and then we'll break it down at the end with a quick little hot lap guide. Alright, so now that we've taken a quick look at what to go through as we're heading through the lap, let's take a quick little breakdown as we walk through this lap. So, coming into turn one, nothing really too special. We're just going to be really parking, spotting this turn in point on the wall on the right hand side. As you're turning in, you're just going to apply just a tiny bit of brake and try to get your left tires just underneath this yellow line, kind of as it goes from straight to curved in, apexing right underneath that cone. Careful that you're not coming in too tight. Very, very easy to skim that inside wall while you're on the right-hand drive. Keep the car turned in. The bumps will actually unsettle it and let it turn in a little bit more than you think, so you can be really committed, just so you don't get that off track on the right-hand side. And then as we roll in across the track, spotting that brake mark about 2.5 cone, getting the car down a couple gears, good little blips to kind of keep the rear in line, and then just hook on the inside of this corner. Don't really run over these curbs. You can use just a tiny, tiny bit. That's about as much as you can get. Turning in at the end of the right hand side curb and then keeping it tight for a late apex here. Really want to focus on keeping it tight so you can run over the curb. There's actually a little bit of a depression there, so there's a couple of little things we want to look at as we roll back through here. So our turning point, really early spotting this end of this curbing. That's going to be a very important point here. Just making sure that you're using all that space. Again, very late apex here. Don't run over any of the curbing here, and then make sure you're straight for exit early on throttle to drive the car out. And then you can see there's an elevated portion of the curb here. You want to run over the curb right after that disappears and becomes flat, just rolling up on the side. That should really maximize the amount of space that you're taking in the track, and also it prevents the car from kind of jumping and losing its exit speed as well. Then coming in to our braking zone for turn 7. Braking just kind of a little bit before that 3 cone here, getting the car down, good blips, really trying to prevent that rear locking, getting the car in, really hooked on an inside curb, early opening, and then turned in, driven out. Not really anything special. There's no real markers after the turning point. Just make sure you're quite late on your turn in, or your turn in, and just making sure that you're not trying to come in too early, because there is a little bit of a depression near the apex that kind of hurts the car. Coming in here, we're braking just about that 3 cone again, just a touch beforehand, all the ways down into second gear. Again, the blips really settling the car. Late apex trying to hook the backside of this curb, and then a lot of speed using all the track on the left-hand side. Can run over this curb. Car's not really going to get unsettled by it at all. And then hugging the left-hand side of the track here. I like to keep it a little bit further to the left here to set up turn 12 a little bit better here. Braking just about the 3 cone, getting the car down in the third gear, only down 1 gear. Turned in very, very early because you're going to pick up a lot of understeer, and then just allow the car to kind of hook that compression on the apex. It's actually going to settle the car. So we're turning in quite early. Not really anything important about those marks. Then once again, braking just about the 3 cone, about 2.5, really realistically. Down 2 gears, on throttle early to kind of settle the rear and use the throttle to rotate the car. Make sure you're not tracking all the way out to this exit curb, then hook across the exit curb, car length after you get off that curb, a little bit of braking just to pull the nose in, and then really aggressively throw the car in here, open it up, let the rear end kind of slide out. Very high commitment section there, really just about how fast you're able to take it. Again, that car length after the braking or after the end of the curve is probably your best marker for braking. Not really any good reference points there otherwise. Then rolling into our final corner. So we're going to be turning in about this 2 cone, braking just about this seam here. So about a car length before we get to that seam. Letting the car roll all the ways out. You don't have to go all the ways out here, but I like to use this really high momentum line, really high on my blips to settle the rear. Getting the car apexing about this little kind of kick out. Be careful of the bumps, because you can see it jolts the car around a lot, and it will actually cause you to lose the car on throttle. I did that a couple times for practicing for this lap. And then just open up the wheel once you're able to get the full throttle. Use as much space as possible to kind of limit the scrubbing, get as much of an exit speed as possible. And then from here, it's really just the shortest line to the finish. And that is a lap of Sebring. And really, really tricky one here. Just the bumps are something you got to be careful of, but most of it is very intuitive driving, making sure that you're driving off your instinct. Not really a lot of markers for you to really throw about. Other than that, best of luck with the laps this week. Can't wait to see what you guys can do.